taking and dealing with lots of lines, but he was also always focusing and searching for the total composition, how things worked together. See, at this point in the drawing, the composition was probably already set, and what he was dealing with was taking and developing the forms for a composition. The drawing was not a compositional drawing at this stage. He had already established that. So here, I'm going through, the way I'm approaching doing the drawing now would be the way he would have started taking and developing a drawing for the paintings. Now, once we're at this point, we start to take and breaking it down a little bit farther. I'm going to go through this in stages. First, the head, of course, is just a very simple volume. Now, as he builds the forms, everything is based on just this. One simple form fitting into another simple form. Nothing more complicated than that. Okay. Now, as we go through now, taking and starting here with the form, all I'm doing is going from one side of the form to the other. I'm consciously thinking of how the forms fit into each other. So you can see that that's all I'm doing. Now, as you develop into get a larger form, I'm going to go through a couple of steps here now. Now, first, I think about the whole rib cage before I start breaking it down into parts. It's this, seeing the sense of the whole pelvic area coming through. But again, I'm doing this as simple volumes. As I go through and start to just, again, these are a preliminary stage in the drawing. Going through this, and again. Now, going back into the drawing, start to take the secondary forms. Now we find we've got the arm already coming, like this, going through here. You can see what would be the muscles coming off the scapula. It gives us a center by taking and coming down, going through. It gives us where the center of the forms are. He's building rib cage, and again, gives us actually corners here. But what we're getting is very, very clear volumes and how they fit one into another. For instance, now as he's drawing the stomach area here, this becomes just another volume fitting on top of the basic volume. Taking, coming through, he's going over the surface, coming around, pushing the sides back. It's just one sphere fitting into another. Now, as we work into this, feel it's almost like a mannequin now. This is, I'm not exaggerating this now. These are the kinds of shapes that he's drawing. Lift, through, down, getting in, crossed, working around the surface, over, now, as he goes farther with the form, if we look at the way he actually comes in and starts to render these things, he's also taking and making the lines, and I'm exaggerating the value here so that you can see them. The lines are continually working over the surface. So it's like taking that sphere and describing that sphere by drawing lines going over and around the surface. But everything depends on seeing the volume that you're working with. Okay, let's take that idea a little bit farther now. This is another contour. Now, looking at this, it's a little more realistic now. But he's done the same thing. We start to come through. Now here, apparently he was drawing from a model, because what he's dealing with is shapes. Now this was, the first one was not model. He's drawing totally from imagination. Here, we're getting some outside contour shapes. That give us the idea that he's probably working from a model. But even as he's doing this, now first taking and blocking in, feeling the action. Blade coming out. See what I'm doing is already, I'm just going over the surface to show that it's coming out. And the arm coming out, going across and back. Now, as he goes farther with this now, he really takes and breaks this thing down. As he's drawing the neck, for instance, here, the neck really becomes very, very simple. The pinching taking place, but he shows again, every line is taking in, dealing with very, very simple volume. So it's a combination of now of working with a model, real forms, but at the same time seeing conceptually. So he draws this whole rib cage area, becomes first just literally a simple sphere. It's this. Nothing more complicated than that. What he does then he's coming in and he's saying there's a center. And he's using the corners, what would be the corners of the rib cage, to start to show that we're seeing this in a direction. He builds the scapula and the shoulders on top of it. This is a separate form built on top, so he's constructing it. Again, this is very, very analogous to what you'd be doing inside a computer. You're building forms, one form fitting on top of another form. Now, as he's going through, the next thing, we look at the waist is very, very simple volume, which is thick. Then he's giving a twist, so he's pulling. He's pulling across, he's taking and showing this volume. You're feeling the whole pelvis coming through, coming around, pulling from behind. The navel, giving us the direction. Now, what else he's doing here now is that he's taking and adding a bit of anatomy by taking and giving us the corner or the edge of the iliac crest of the pelvis. Now, as this blade comes out of here, first we're dealing with this as a cylinder. We're dealing with actually it's a cylinder more than a sphere, but it's all just part of the thing. This important part here is that he's showing that the stomach is pressing against this. So there's weight involved, and he's drawing around over the surface of the form. So we can feel these things fitting in, going over and around. Now, as it becomes forward, again, it's fitting into this. The lines actually now are going over the surface, coming through. This going behind, this is fitting into that. So now you can see the way I'm approaching this, it very much has a very formula effect to take the way the drawing's done. It's very mechanical. Now, we build the thing up, feeling the volume right through. You feel now he's building one form on top of the other. Going through, going down. Okay. The other leg's done exactly the same way. Taking him through, feel the forms fitting in, one building on top of The other lines are going over the surface. So the fullness of the form. So we're going from a very, very conceptualized, just simple spherical forms, to still conceptualized, but it's more real. Now we can take that the next step